Good morning, everyone. Well, I've been doing these posts for a couple of years, and so I do apologize if some of the topics do reoccur. But I think it's important, I think, for us to remind ourselves of some of these things every now and then. I was on pilgrimage in Rome in 1999. Yeah, last century. Yeah, anyway, I was there on pilgrimage, and we went to uh, the main house of the Marist organization. And in the little chapel there, which was the St. Marcelin Chapel, they've actually got a relic of the saint. In fact, it's allegedly is one of his fingers, a little finger. And it's in this glass case and all the rest of it. And it hasn't held up very well over the years, but it's there. And you sort of say, well, that's terribly morbid. Why would they want to do that? Well, you see, people hold onto these relics to remind ourselves, or at least to feel that they're still part of the journey we're doing, or to be associated with the holiness of that person. Because, I mean, incidentally, I was there for the canonization of St. Marcelin. So he's being recognized as a saint. And so therefore, to have that kind of relic, it was very, very important, very meaningful. But there are other kinds of relics that we do have in the church. Early relics, I mean, this goes way back to ancient times, very early times in the church, where if somebody was holy and they'd been buried, then sometime later, you're talking about a year later, whatever, sometimes people would, in a dignified way, go and dig up the grave so that they could get parts of the clothing that the person was wearing. Remembering, of course, that the person is only declared a saint after they died, and so it might be some long time afterwards. And they take the item of clothing and maybe cut it into tiny little fragments, because each of those is considered to be a reminder or associated with somebody who is greatly holy. And so those relics are often associated with putting a new church in place, that beneath the altar of every church would be a relic of a saint. We have one here at Blessed Sacrament, although there's some debate about the history or the origin of the relic that we have. But if you think about it, it goes back to maybe even the Basilica in Rome. I mean, the basilicas are built over the burial site of St. Peter or St. Paul or other saints. And so it's not just a small fragment, it's their entire body. And what is that relic all about? Well, again, it's a small relic, a small piece or a small fragment. So we need to guard against people who, number one, sell relics because you're not allowed to. And number two, people who claim things are relics and there are great volumes of them. For example, if you took all the splinters that are supposedly part of the original cross or of the original manger that Jesus lay in, you'd need a number of trucks to be able to fill up all of those things. And I don't think the miracle of the loaves and fishes took place on relics. So you've got to guard against some of these relics and make sure that they are real and genuine. So, good things to think about. You have a wonderful day. Keep yourself safe. God bless. Bye-bye.